So this class is called I Am the Prayer, and I want to tell you a little story, hopefully without crying, but I was told to tell the story. So 8 years ago, I had my daughter, and I was in a very, very bad place. Newly a single parent, just totally feeling vulnerable and like I didn't have anything or any help or any support. And I found this yoga class, and it was called I Am the Prayer. And sorry, it just feels like a full circle moment. And I started to take this yoga class, and the woman, her name is Elena Brower, so some of you probably have taken her classes or know her. She designed this whole class, and it's called I Am the Prayer. I am the one who prays. I am the answer. And I began taking this class every day and saying these words. And she helped me remember that we are God, we are source. And through understanding the power of the I am, we can begin to create our lives in alignment with who we are. And she helped me just change my life. Now, it wasn't overnight, and I have a lot of teachers who've helped me along the way, but I can honestly say in the depths of despair, I began to use the I am. And it really I didn't expect to cry, so I apologize. Right at the beginning, it got a little intense. I'm not always like this. I can be funny too. But just knowing that we have so much power as humans when we begin to shift our identification. And that's what this class is about. Okay. So we're going to start with the words which Saint Germain uses a lot, and he reminded me to use today, which is I am that I am. And we find the words, also you'll have a recording, so if you don't feel like you have to write everything down, but if you're a writer, that's great too. I am that I am. So throughout all spiritual traditions, we have this idea of the I am, this beyond, it's almost difficult to teach about because it's beyond words in some senses. And the I am, we can trace it back. I'm going to use examples from the Bible today. And I know that will probably be triggering for some people if you grew up in a certain tradition, but I'd like to reframe what I'm about to teach, that the Bible was tampered with, but it's actually a sacred text, right? And Jesus, who is an ascended master, as well as other ascended masters, came here to teach us that we are also that. We are also I am. Saint Germain often reminds us of the same thing. I am that I am was written in the first 5 books of the Old Testament, which, and this is what God or Yahweh tells Moses to identify to the people when they ask, right? And what the important part of it is to remember I am are the most powerful words that we can use in remembrance of ourselves, because they are the words that directly identify us with the source, the name of God. We can attribute all to this. So we all come from source consciousness, right? And what happens is, if you think about it, we're born as beautiful creations, as babies. We don't remember as babies what we're not. If you notice little babies, they are constantly they're in love with themselves, basically, like they're eating their toes and their fingers. And just watch a baby. I mean, I'm even noticing this with this little puppy. Like there's no misidentification that has occurred. Now, certainly we can bring in past life. We sometimes bring in past life traumas and things we need to work out, but just for a moment, observe the pure essence of a child, right? Take a moment to do this if you're around with a child, and you will observe someone who has not yet been under the influence of this sort of collective amnesia of conditioning that begins to occur, right? We are pure, we are innocent, we are light, we are source. And it's not because people are necessarily trying to be mean or traumatizing. Now, sometimes they are, and that happens, right? But most of the time, what happens is, our parents are also misidentified, right? That's most of the time what happens. Our parents have learned to misidentify from their parents and from their parents' parents. And so we just pass along these misidentifications. We learn quickly what we are not, right? I can think about some of my earliest misidentifications, and I want you to do the same. For example, I remember being in an art class in first grade and looking around and deciding that I was not an artist by just looking around at other people's paintings and thinking, oh, they're much better than mine. I'm using colors differently. I see the world very differently. My experience as a child was really intense because I was a medium as a child and I didn't know how to manage it. So my art was very different, right? But automatically, and this wasn't even necessarily from other adults, but I just automatically, I am not an artist, right? I take that out of law now. I don't believe that, but I used to believe that identification. The other big one for me is I am not smart. This one happened around first grade. Everybody was learning how to read. Or is it, yeah, first grade, I think? Yeah, first grade, I think you learned to read. Yeah. Okay. So everybody was learning to read, and my developmental process was really much slower because of the amount of energy I was seeing around. Like there's a lot going on. So the process of learning to read written words didn't happen until about third grade for me, which there's nothing wrong with that. And then I spent my whole life trying to catch up and prove to people that I am smart, right? Because of this misidentification. And it's taken me a lot of work and I'm not saying I've done all of them, like I'm in process as much as everybody here, right? But it's taken me a lot of work to begin to identify the misidentifications, right? So what happens, you want to begin to observe when you are misidentifying. I am, you can use these words. First off, if you're thinking about just the words I am, it is, what's interesting to me in the English language is the words I am. The verb to be, I am, is both transitive and intransitive. Now, you don't need to know exactly all of that. I'm just going to explain something. in the English language, we don't have many verbs that serve both of those functions. Most of our verbs require either like an object, like a direct object, or they stand alone. I run, right? I run stands alone. I run a marathon requires an object, but I am is complete in and of itself. And that's just something to notice. We as humans have a difficulty even defining who we are. We are aware through text and through cosmic, through many influences of people having these spiritual experiences of that we are this greater vast being, right? That we are composed of this greater vast being, but we have a hard time identifying other than that. So I want you just to begin to think of the words I am as representing the totality of your being. So take that in again. It's representing the totality of your being. And then all the other words, right? We say I am and then blank, okay? All the other words that go after the I am are identifications in some way, right? Now, what gives us power here is that we can use those words, I am, and then we can fill in the blank with new words and new identifications. Does that make sense? Kind of? Okay, I'll explain more. Because we have spent so long or so much of our life, I'm just going to say some, right? I want you to start thinking of your own. I am not lucky. I am broke. I am not smart. It doesn't even feel good in the body to say these now. I just want to give you examples, right? I am a terrible speller, which that's a little true. I am tired, right? So I used to say that one all the time. I'm tired. Now, I have a dear friend who's on this call also, and she helped me remember that that's a misidentification, that I am using those words to reinforce something that I don't even prefer, right? So when you begin to notice, just observe, you will begin to, in your daily life, notice when your misidentifications come up, okay? And it's like misuse, one way to say this, what Wayne is reminding me, it's misuse of our imagination. We are all that. I am that I am. I am source, right? And so when you identify, you want to be really mindful of what you begin to identify with. And the beautiful thing here is that we have the power to choose. We have the power because we are multidimensional beings, right? We are source creators. When we learn how to align with who we really are, we can begin to create things on earth easily, right? When we expand our consciousness. So whenever you say I am, you are setting the pure energy of God in motion, uncolored by human concepts. And this is the pure energy of source. So to use this phrase, we can have enormous results in a short amount of time. And that's why many spiritual traditions use I am. When Jesus, if you count Jesus, who popped in, and he's here with us, he in his time went by Yeshua ben Joseph, and was part of the Essene Mystery School. So when he came to the planet, when he ascended, right, on Earth, if we count in the, he said, I think it was, I looked up 33 times, he uses I am to identify, right? And no, I'm going to read some of them. He says, I think all of these are in Matthew. Again, this is not because this is a religious class whatsoever. Just want to be clear, right? I am talking about the sacred text that we can use to remember that we are the miracle, right? I also have an example from the Rig Veda that I'll also say. So this is found in all spiritual traditions, this concept, right? Throughout time. Yeshua said, I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. I am the door. I am the vine. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Okay? Just notice those. Notice that I am acts as a doorway or an equal sign to these very beautiful metaphors that we can all connect with. I am the door. The door opens to our consciousness. I am the vine. I am the vine of creation, when we're all connected, right? So if you see what he was doing, what his teachings, he says that he was very misunderstood, but we're coming back to remembrance of what he was trying to teach us, right? That we ourselves can use these words because we are also the miracle. We are also the vine. We are also the door.